Hello, welcome to today's broadcast. You're with me, Funke, on Let's Be Real. Once again, I've got the young gentleman with me, and I'm going to go right over to him because he has something that he would like to share with us today.
Hello, my name is Fortress, and today I'll be talking about the power of names or the meaning of names. So, I don't know how I got to it. I think my dad was preaching, and we were in 1 Samuel 25, verse 25, where it said, "Let not my Lord, I pray thee, regard this man of Belial, whatever, even Nabal, for as his name is, so he is. Nabal is his name, and folly is with him. But in thy handmaid say, saw not the young men of my Lord, whom thou didst send." So his name meant fool, and his actions was like a fool. So you could see that the meaning of his name manifested in his life. So, for an example, if someone was called stupid, maybe they live their life like a stupid person. But if your name meant like a leader, then in your life you'll see that you're always a leader in most things. So when people are naming their children names, you should be careful. Or like, was it Daniel and his friends, and the king gave them
Babylonian names.
Yes.
Yes.
And Daniel refused it because the meaning of the names were not something that would satisfy God. One was like the meaning, the king of the moon. And if you think in most, like the way the devil works, the moon, that's what he uses as well. So you shouldn't really name your child anything that would satisfy the devil, but instead satisfy God.
Yeah. Good night.
Yeah?
Yeah? Okay. I think what I just want to do is just the background to the story that you use as your example. Yeah. Because what was happening there was that David and his men, as of that time, they were running David was running from Saul, yes, who was the king at the time. And while David was running from Saul, there were some people that joined up with him, and eventually they became his army, yes, anyway. And during that time, while he was running from Saul, he was helping Nabal to look after his field. Yeah. His men made themselves available. So what really happened was that he was like, okay, my men and myself, I've shielded your men from being attacked. We've helped you to preserve your farm produce and everything. And what actually happened was David sent some of his men to Nabal to give them food to eat. Yes. I haven't thought that, we've helped you. Maybe you two can help us. But in return, Nabal said no, he wasn't going to do it. In fact, I think he insulted David's men. And David, anger stirred up within him, and he was going to come and fight Nabal and his men. And blood would have flowed on that day. But when word got to Abigail, that was when that place you read, yes, that was what happened. When she heard that David was going to come and fight, and she knew that lives will go, she quickly stepped up. Obviously, that's the reason why you're reading that place and the name of her husband. Yes. But I think there's a place further down in 25 as well. If you look at where you were reading, it talks about it as well, the meaning of his name and how he acted. Mm-hmm. And this was Abigail actually explaining to David. Do you want to have a look?
Yeah, I think you should read it though.
Okay. I'm looking at the NIV Translation, and this is 1 Samuel 25, and I'm reading verse 25. It says, "Please pay no attention, my Lord." This is Abigail speaking to David. "Please pay no attention, my Lord, to that wicked man, Nabal. He is just like his name. His name means fool, and folly goes before him. And as for me, your servant, I did not see the men my Lord sent." So she's explaining herself, but that's not really where we're going, is it? It's the meaning of the name and the importance of the name. So his name meant fool, and like you're saying, the evidence of that foolishness was in his life.
Yes.
So you are just encouraging us that when we name, because it's not only our children that we name, is it?
No.
We name sometimes our pet animals.
Or like nicknames for children, yeah.
Exactly, nicknames for children. I think that's a brilliant one, nickname for children, because sometimes, you know, some people will call their children little rascals. They'll call them little monkeys. They call them, oh, aren't you a little demon?
And then when they like start acting like this, they'll be surprised.
Exactly, which still comes back to, do you remember the first sitting that we did when you record
Yes.
about the power of the tongue?
Yes.
And we said that whatever you say will come to manifest in your life. So if you're calling somebody little demon, what would eventually begin to happen in the life of that child? Exactly, because you are calling forth that demon in the life of that child. And if you, let me not go too deep. This is your time. So, yeah, definitely, you're right. So, is there anything else? So, we shouldn't call our, nicknames. Those kind of nicknames are not nice.
Some people's names, they're long and then they'll be shortened it.
Yeah.
If the shortened name is not good and you're saying that, then you've changed their name to something
else. Yeah.
So also that means you should be confident in yourselves that if they're saying a name that you don't like, you should be like, no, this is my name, this is what they named me, and you're not changing it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. So such a valid point. Then let me ask you a question then. How about when we buy clothes and it says, I am a rebel?
Well, I don't know, because there was one guy in the Rehoboth that you know me.
I understand.
Yeah, and he had an angry bird, and one day he was extremely angry. So I don't know, but it probably isn't a good idea. But then I would say, I'm not sure if this is correct, but if you're well known in the Word of God, then and you see this top, then you should just be like, well, it's a top, but it can still do something to your life, because at the end he was angry and everybody else suffered for the thing that he did.
Well, so, I think it's important. You know why? Because when you look at people that play sports, you normally have their names, don't they?
Yeah.
And you have their number.
Yes.
Their number, I think, I'm not, verse in this, but their number most of the time represent the position they're playing.
Yes.
And immediately you see that number, you know the position that person is playing.
Yes.
And immediately you see that name, you know who the person is.
Yes.
So likewise, if you're wearing something that says, I am a rebel,
then it's probably going to tap into your life as well.
That's who you're telling people you are.
Yeah.
So whether you're saying it by the words of your mouth or by your action, you're still declaring for the world to say you are a rebel. But are you a rebel? Do you want people to identify you as a rebel? So I think on that basis, it does matter what it is written on our t-shirts or our polo shirts or whatever it is that we're wearing. So if it's saying something that is negative, you remember in Proverbs chapter 6, verse 2 that you read, it says, you are snared by the words of your mouth. You are entrapped by the words that you speak. So if the t-shirt he or she is wearing is saying, I am a rebel, or is saying, I am stupid, or is saying something negative, do you understand what I'm saying? Then you are pronouncing that upon yourself, whether spoken or unspoken. Exactly. So I agree with you totally. Nicknames, we should be careful with nicknames. And how about, you don't call yourself that, but I think you've kind of covered it. You don't call yourself, when like an adult come round and they've never seen you and they just want to greet you and they said, oh, you little monkey. So should you accept that?
No.
So how do you address that?
Well, I'm not sure. If it's someone you know, I'll just be like, sorry, can you please not call me that, because my parents named me this and I would like to be referred by this name. But if it's somebody that just comes up to you and says, and I'll just be like, oh, well, sorry, but next time, please can you call me this? Because if they keep on calling you like that, like I said, then it'll then happen in their life, and then they'll be like, okay, why are they acting like this? And it'll be like, well, it's your fault because you named that person. So you should just be more aware of yourself. So you need to be confident in yourself as well. So
know who you are and don't let anybody change that.
but then also, speaking on that, there's a difference between saying to them, sorry, that's not my name, and like, no, that's not my name. So if you are going to tell them, you should be polite as well, so that you're not being rude. But yeah.
I think we've covered it.
Yeah.
Oh, we bless God. Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for being with us today. You've been with me, Funke, on Let's Be Real, and you've had the privilege of hearing from Fortress. So till we'll come your way the next time, remain blessed.